Hello, most welcome. Today we'll discuss spirituality. Our guest today is Paul. Paul Arye lived and trained in India for 14 years by the Saint Sri Kalishwar. During his time there, he participated and witnessed many miracles and learned powerful techniques of personal transformation, empowerment, and healing. He now has established a meditation and healing center in Los Angeles since 2012, where he teaches and sees clients globally. Let's welcome Paul to the show. Paul, tell us how are you doing today?
Doing great. It's great that we finally met and we are on this podcast together. I'm very excited. There's a divine purpose for us being together here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And please let me know a little first about your journey and and your life.
Yeah. Well, I've been a seeker, meditator, and a practitioner since as early as 1978, where I really dove into spirituality, personal empowerment, transformation, and really understanding the human potential and what us as human beings can attain. So obviously, I spent a lot of time seeking out saints, um, visionaries, seekers, accomplished self improvement people throughout my life. And early on in 1978, I met various saints on my journey. But that started the whole process of turning within and really unfolding the human potential within myself. Because I figured, if God existed within me. So I really need to focus there and to really cultivate that energy inside myself. And so, I just started the path, and I started meditating as early as 1978, and then my path of meditation, and I met many saints during the time. And then in the year 1997, I met Sri Kalishwar, who was a young saint who came to California. And I was invited to go to a weekend retreat. And during that retreat, it opened my eyes as to what was possible, what the saints were able to access, what the secrets that they practiced. They had their own personal processes. So during the weekend of this retreat with Sri Kalishwar, I witnessed amazing miracles. I mean, I'll give you an example. He would put his hand into a blazing fire and pull out a piece of charcoal that was blazing hot, and he would, crush it with his hands, and he would manifest and materialize a gemstone or a necklace or some object. Another time he would manifest out of his mouth sacred ash. Uh, and so it intrigued me. And during the process, his words resonated. And he basically said all the saints practiced the same process of mastery of the five elements. They all practiced meditation to connect to Mother Divine, who's the source of the miracle energy. He said the saints all had to go through personal development, purification, and purging of the process of letting go of their concepts of who they thought they were, to go through the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. And he said Jesus did it. He used mantras, he used yantras, he used processes, he used special meditation techniques to get to the point where he would be able to communicate, access, and really connect with angels, connect to Mother Divine, to connect to other divine souls, to be able to unravel the mysteries of the nature, the mysteries of the mystics, the mysteries of what all saints have to go through in order to become self-realized.
mm,
And self-realized means to recognize that your soul never dies,
mm,
that the soul came from a grander, more powerful uh, energy, and
mm,
that if you want to understand God, you really have to turn within and to have discipline to reach that stage of understanding and experience. Because if you don't have an experience, it doesn't resonate, it's not real. As opposed to current day religion, which tells you believe this, believe that, regurgitate this truth, and that's it, with no experience.
mm,
So that really opened my eyes to the reality of spirituality, which I had been yearning for. It's like I wasn't happy in my life. I had material wealth. I had all the social name and status, but something wasn't really happy within me. So that's
mm,
why I started the spiritual journey to figure out, if God existed, I wanted to meet that soul face to face. I didn't want to just rely on, these stories that are in the Bible or the ancient texts. I wanted to experience it directly.
mm, mm. Exactly. Then, by then, what were you doing? And after you met him here in the United States, when did you decide to go to India? And what have you done there?
The reason why I'm laughing is because I recognized that the spiritual path was part of my journey.
Mm,
So, I had a textile business in Los Angeles, and I quickly just closed it down. I decided to go to India and to really jump in, so to speak, into Indian spirituality. And that's what I did. By 1998, I went back and forth to India several times, and then eventually decided that I wanted to invest my time to research, study, uh, engage in the processes of meditation that Sri Kailashwar had uh, instructed. And so it just started, it opened up a whole new world. It, it really gave me the experiences early on of miracles, miracle energy, understanding where miracle energy comes from, why it's important, what is the source of it, and really to go through that process of healing, because we don't come to the spiritual path, all happy and excited. And, we all have trials and tribulations and heartbreak. And so I had to go through the process of purging out um, the, how should I say, the heartbreak that was in my life, the disappointments, the
mm,
areas of my life where were not serving me anymore. I had to learn how to get rid of sadness. I had to learn how to heal heartbreak. I had to learn how to be humble in life, and that to know God means to understand that you're just a small reflection of that divine energy, and that your soul is a reflection of that infinite love within. And that was probably one of the more difficult lessons that I had to really uh, embrace. But once I began to let go and to be able to understand the principles of spirituality, like we talked about, part of accessing the divine, you have to know how to manage, the demons, like we talked about earlier, anger,
yeah, exactly.
sadness, greed, desires. It's not that desires are all that bad. It's just understanding what are the desires that will create happiness, true happiness, long-term happiness, and how to figure out um, what's an illusion, and how to manage your energy. Oftentimes in the West, they say in spirituality that wherever you focus your attention,
Mhm.
your energy goes to that place. So if you have anger and you overly indulge it and engage in it, what you're doing is giving your power, your soul power, over to that emotion, and you become a slave to that emotion.
Mm.
When you have unworthiness, where you feel that you're not you're not deserving of love, or you're not deserving of respect, that when it's unconscious, we're a slave to those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions. And spirituality is about raising your awareness to understand that you are not those limitations, and that you can remove those blockages in a way that opens your soul up and grows the beauty of the soul, rather than restricting ourselves to fear, anger, lust, greed, unworthiness, lack of compassion, lack of understanding, lack of love. You know, if we would understand, and it took me a while to really get this, but if we really understood the power of love, and this is not the romantic love that is
Mhm.
portrayed in the media, but it's that acceptance and understanding that the fabric of creation is love. It is the consciousness that which duality is projected upon. And when you experience that love through different channels, life just has a different experience completely. You no
Mm.
longer you no longer gravitate to anger as an emotional release for stress and emotional garbage. You understand how to manage anger in a way that's healthy. Most clients that I work with have a difficult time understanding how to manage or work with anger or sadness in a way to, quote unquote, decharge or release those negative emotions. It's not that they're bad, it's just that they don't serve you. They really have a negative impact on the beauty and the vibrations of the soul. So that's what my master taught me, and I had to go and experience directly. I had to understand this for myself firsthand so that I could speak about it. Generally, I never speak about something unless I have a personal experience that of which I understand.
Mm. So before we go to other questions, let's delve deeper in this topic a little bit because I saw you were a life example and model of balance and patience and understanding. Because as I told you before, I waited you and rescheduled 2 times, and I didn't see any difference in your behavior. Although today we are living in the same world and see even people cancel on you if they see you reschedule 2 times. And the question here for audience is how you manage your anger, your misunderstanding, the energy. First, what is this energy? What is this short temper and how to manage it? I know it is not easy and it is a big thing. That's why we cannot do it, although we are very wise, educated. So, how to manage our anger and some feelings that even afterward make us regret. So what's your recommendation and advice here?
Well, I have to tell you, in my younger years, when I began the spiritual path, I had to come to terms with the fact that I was a very angry human being.
Exactly.
I
Mm.
mean, I saw it firsthand. And on the spiritual path, you cannot receive any abilities and be angry at the same time. It's just, can you imagine you're given the keys, a 16-year-old person given the keys to a Ferrari? You know, it's like dynamite. You know, you never know when it's going to explode. But getting back to your question, anger is it's a very destructive energy. It's the fire element when it's uncontrolled. You know, like everything, the fire element can be used for beneficial purposes and it can be used for destructive purposes. So when the fire element is weak or if it's uncontrolled, it's like a raging fire. It just like will just consume you. And I realized early on that whenever I would get angry, my energy would change. It would consume me. It become almost uncontrollable. And when you don't have control of the energy of that anger, and if you really in the spirituality, you really it's it's important in your meditations to ask the questions like, why am I getting angry? You know, what is my expectation? What is my desire? And what is the pain that's associated with not having that desire filled and not having, and it's dealing with pain as well. If you take a look at anybody who's angry, underneath that anger is pain. And it's that pain that hasn't been purged. It's the pain that hasn't been healed. It's the pain that hasn't been released. And I tell a lot of my clients, I said, anger as one of the blockages that we have as human beings, you can learn how to release, let go, heal, and understand the mechanism of where that anger is coming from. And if you can actually get in touch with it and understand and be able to speak to your soul will show you the reality. Your soul will show you where it is coming from. We talk about decharging. Decharging is a way of releasing negative energies, negative emotions, negative feelings, negative blockages. And that is an instrumental part of the spiritual path. On one side of the coin, you're learning how to cultivate positive, nurturing, growing energy, divine energy, right?
Mm.
On the flip side, as you increase the positive energy, you have to understand that that positive energy is going to purify out or to show you or bring up the negative um, karmas, the negative emotions, the negative traumas, the negative pain that needs to be rooted out and purged from your system. And that's
Mm.
the way spirituality works. And I teach this to a lot of my clients where so they can understand that the spiritual practice is about cultivating the positive, but understanding as the negative starts to get purified out, how to manage that, how to release it, how to decharge it, how to let it go. And I teach them techniques, tools, and ways in which to make it easier. And then, like every habit, if you are constantly relearning new habits and new programmings and new grooves in your system, you'll get easier and easier ways to manage the energy.
Mm.
It's not like I don't get angry. I get
Mm.
angry. but I
exactly.
don't let the anger control me and my energy.
Mm.
Because it's when you see, that's what empowerment is all about. Because it's the anger that comes and attaches to you and the pain that you're feeling. You don't know what to do with that energy. So, what people normally do is that they lash out at other people. They transfer that energy or that frustration or that pain to other people through talking or through just energetics. So when people that are angry come into my space, they'll feel better because there's a transference. As a healer, that's part of the process. But I have the tools to know how to release it, to burn it, to let it go, to decharge it, so that it never stays in my system for any period of time.
Oh, wow. So is it like a bubble of energy, a trauma just safe in our body? As I heard, the trauma is saved in the body and not in the brain or mind. So is it that kind of memory which saves somewhere and you just unleash it or unveil it so it will demolish in the thin air?
It's a vibration that has been
Okay.
lodged and it's stuck somewhere. You haven't
Oh,
processed it out. It's a vibrational energy. That's why people who go through traumas and don't know how to release it, purge it, let it go, heal it, dissolve it, it stays in the body and it manifests in the body. It's like the body is a reflection of a negative energy that you're holding on to on a subtle level, on a soul level. So all healing that happens is really at the soul level. If you can heal something at the soul level, automatically the manifestation in the body gets released.
mhm.
So it's about healing the soul. It's about healing the heartbreak. It's about healing the vibrational frequency and changing those energies within you.
So you do it through meditation and tools that you have. Hmm?
Right, right.
Exactly.
I'll give you an
So,
example. I'll give you an example.
mm,
Every new moon and full moon, we do what are called fire meditations or fire ceremonies. And we have a square fire pit, and we use the full moon energy plus the energy of the fire pit, which is enlivened with positive vibrations. And we use mantras, which are sound vibrations. Mantras are like words that have power to them to uplift and to purify and to heal and to nurture the soul. So we use the combination of the power of the fire, the power of the moon energy, because the full moon has a lot of power, just like the full moon, just like the new moon. And we use mantras, which are sound vibrations. And the process is very simple looking into a flame, looking at a fire pit with these blazing fires. The energy of that fire pit pulls out the poison through the eyes automatically. So anybody who comes to these fire ceremonies and participates in them, and we have different types of fire ceremonies, like fire ceremonies to get rid of negativity, fire ceremonies to get rid of trauma. We have fire ceremonies for healing family karmas. We have fire ceremonies to heal heartbreak. And so it is a process of your intention and your willingness to participate and engage with the positive energies to suck out the poison. Because in Sri Kalishwar's path, it's about empowering your soul through the five elements, which is the earth element, the fire element, the ether, the water element, and the air element. So when you change your relationship to the elements and embrace them in a way that allow healing to occur, allows the healing energy and the vibrations of the elements to remove toxins, to remove pain, to remove heartbreak, to remove sadness, and to remove traumas.
Exactly. Uh, I have a question here about the difference between the healing process of any trauma from perspective of spirituality and psychology. As I saw some of the spiritual, I can say, gurus or mystics told me that psychology is a superficial form of healing, and and spirituality delve deeper and go to the root cause of thing, and as you said, dissolve it totally. But the psychology just cure it or cover it. So what is your idea on it, please?
Psychology has some benefit to it, no doubt, but it's there to help you to understand the symptoms.
Mm,
If all everything's vibrations, everything is imbalances in the elements due to the vibrational influences that are there. And so you have to really start to examine, like, what are the influences, and work with someone. It's not like a healer is there to do it to you. It's a it's a symbiotic relationship between a healer, the energy, the connection to divine source, and that soul, to bring about balance, to bring about purification, to bring about um, pulling out the imbalances and the vibrational influences that are having an impact on you on the soul level. You have to understand, it's like the soul. This is what I learned and I experienced, is that when the soul is not healthy, the mind is unhealthy. The soul is unhealthy, the body is unhealthy. And um, these traumas impact the energy of the soul, and it's like shocked. It's like an energetic shock. So you need to work with someone who's going to help you to put balance back. And put balance back means that you have to take out some of the poison that's there and to heal it, which means that you have to bring about strength in the soul. Because when the soul becomes strong, then you can perform your own miracles. You can discover when you are in union with your soul and the universal cosmic intelligence, something happens. There is a healing that happens, and your soul begins to grow and become healthier. And you have to feed it the right things. In today's day and age, we're engaged in so much negativity through social media, through the news, through things that we're taking in. If you take a look at the news, what is it about? It's about fear.
exactly.
It's about fear. It's about over sexualization. It's about, you're not worthy, you're not deserving of anything until you get this item. Then you're cool. Then you're powerful. Then you'll be in charge. These are all false things, because you'll get the highs and then you'll go back down.
Mm,
Spirituality is about growing on a steady graph over time so that you become happy. That's a very novel concept, to be happy, yet it's a profound experience. It's a profound vibrational experience when you go out in the nature and you hear the birds chirping, you feel the breeze on your face, you experience unbelievable healing just by having the sun rays on your face.
Uh, so, what has the spirituality have with the selflessness? Do you think we need some selfishness in this world to live? How much, if we compare in percentage, how much percentage selflessness and how much selfishness to live a healthier life? And what does it have with the spirituality?
Well, selfishness, it could be a good thing in spirituality because if you're not happy, is it so bad to be selfish to want to be happy in life? Isn't it that selfishness that leads you to a guru or a spiritual teacher who teaches you about love? Uh, selfishness becomes narcissistic when it's just about you and that no one else is important. It's about first loving yourself, about understanding yourself, what's inside of you. If there's God inside of me, how do I access that energy? You know, if I don't feel love in my relationship, well, what's blocking that? You know, um, most people fail in relationships because they don't experience love within themselves, but they have expectations about receiving love from another person, and that's their only source of love. But a true relationship will empower you to find your own heart center. And that if you're experiencing past relationships where you've had heartbreak, that relationship should heal that in you and that you should have an abundance of love. But, let's face it, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes patience, it takes faith in yourself that hasn't yet arrived or you haven't experienced on a daily basis. It takes time, but you have to be patient and you have to have an understanding that you are loved, but you're in the process of discovering that. And that's what meditation is about. Meditation is about, and this is what I teach people, it's about opening yourself up. And when you open up yourself, you're going to find the good stuff, but you'll also find the not such good stuff. What do you do with that? How do you let it go? How do you purify it? How do you move forward in strength, in your own power? Power is not a force like, moving one thing around to here. What it means is that in the midst of adversary, you still are centered within your energy, no matter what comes in front of you. Okay. And making choices like, I don't want to be angry because I already know that if I get angry and I start losing my temper, those vibrations will consume me. And I don't want that vibration around me. From my personal experience, I don't allow that energy within me or around me, period.
So, what do you teach and how do you help clients? Just give us a few chapter of it or a few section. What do you do?
Well, each person is very unique and everyone has their own set of challenges and areas that they're looking for change. Change means, okay, they're not happy with the way they are, or they're experiencing blockages, or they're experiencing um, a lack of abundance or a lack of connectiveness in their relationship, something like that. So, what I found is that working with people one on one is very powerful. I mean, I could go and do these courses and classes and have people download it, this and that, and so on and so forth, and make it a commercial uh, experience. But in the end, what people are looking for is someone to talk to, someone that will give them insights, someone that will give them tools that they can use on a daily basis for their personal transformation, that they can use and see results. I'll give you an example. Most people that I talk to, they're under a lot of stress. They're under a lot of influences through their job, their family, their spouse, their the expectations at work, and so on and so forth. And I tell people as an example, I said, well, it sounds like you're under attack,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And what happens when you're under attack or you have that perception? You know, thousands of years ago, it was like, okay, the bears and the wolves and the tigers are out there. I can hear them. You know, where's my bows and arrows? In today's world, it's completely different. You know, now it's like our survival has to do with our job and the sacrifices that we have to give energetically in order to please other people to get them to, let them not fire you, So I interact with people so that they can begin to see the triggers in them that are causing this fear. Because you and I know, Nabi, that when you're under attack or the perception of attack, what happens is you contract, right? Your muscles become contracted. You're hyper focused. You have to drink 5 coffees in the day so that you don't lose that focus. You have to load yourself with all these cortisol inducing foods and sugars and things just to be on top of your game so that you don't get sideswiped, right?
Right.
And above all, people forget one fundamental principle. They stop breathing, right? I've dealt with this so many times between employees and employers. And I explain to them in these situations, what do you do? Where does your energy go? And how can you manage your energy better? And I tell people, are you meditating every morning when you wake up? No. Why? Because I got to get the kids dressed. I've got to get lunch in the box. I've got to spend time with my husband before he leaves. I've got to get my makeup on and I've got to get myself prepared. So there's all these things that are happening and people forget themselves that it's you, it's your soul that is there at every moment for all these people. And it's all your energy's bleeding out. So I try to empower people by saying, okay, first of all, take a deep breath. Exhale. Because what you're doing is you're taking in energy. I mean, just take a look at it. Whenever you're in that moment where you're stressed out, like before, you were in a hospital, were you breathing? No. Why? Because you were really hyper focused on your friend or the situation that you were in, and you forgot to breathe. And it's that breath, that energy of the air element that sends a message to your body. Hey, you're not under attack. Hey, you don't have to bleed out all your energy. That if you pull your energy within, back to the source of your soul, and you focus and you have a perspective where you can observe and have an awareness, not from tension, but from a relaxed awareness. You have your tools about you to solve any situation and any circumstance. You see the distinction here as an example, because we forget to breathe. And what happens when we stop breathing? We're telling our body that we're under attack and we have to fear something that we can't see. So I tell people, I said, take a moment, pause. Okay? Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just let go. And you're releasing out the stress, literally. And these are small tools like that. And like with people that get upset with somebody else because they said some stupid thing or they said a very negative thing. I try to instill in people that you don't have to react to somebody else's negativity. Because what happens when you react, you're giving your energy up to them and you're giving your energy away. I said, instead, pause, take a time out, take a deep
Mm.
breath and wait. And then think about what response you want to give this person rather than reacting. When you think about it a little bit more in depth, then you'll be able to respond more even keeled. You see what I'm saying? And what's critical in any spiritual path is that you need to manage your energy. That's why meditation is so important, because if you do that at the beginning of each morning of each day, what you're doing is you're connecting to source. You're connecting to a higher power. You're connecting to an infinite energy source that you can tap in anywhere. So it's training people to be aware of their own energy, and that they have choices that they can make in every circumstance, in every situation. And it's really, that's part of the transformation, because when you meditate, you're going back to source, you're going back to your soul, you're going back to the cosmic energy, and you're learning how to access that no matter where you are.
Exactly the same thing I heard from Osho, the spiritual mystic. Uh, in one of his teaching, he says, if you learn a rhythm of of breathing, then you can carry that calmness state with you under any stressful situation. Although, as you said, you have a lot of attacks, you still don't lose that meditative state or that calm, collected state that you started in the morning with that rhythm. If you don't lose the breathing rhythm. So, as you said, he says breathing is everything in one of his teachings. So here I have a question. He also says breathing is the soul. He says when you breathe in, you are actually getting alive, and when you breathe out, you are dying. With every breath in and breath out, you are dying and getting alive again. Uh, my question is, what do you think about the soul, where it is, and because it's a terminology that we are hearing, is this a projection of mind, or what is this term soul?
So your question is, where did the soul come from?
Exactly. What is the soul? Exactly.
Right. Okay. I love this question because I always go back to something practical for people. You came into this world from where?
Mm, I don't know.
No, no. I mean, you were given birth. Where did you come from?
Yeah, physically, spiritually, physically, I came the same process that
Right.
everybody comes. Yeah.
Exactly. You were born. Your body was born into this world through your physical mother, right?
Yes.
So if you were born into this world through physical mother, then your soul must have been brought into this world from a much bigger aspect of the mother, the universal mother.
Mm.
So, in spirituality, they say, in spirituality, we have to know who you are and where you came from and where you're going. Well, the soul came from the divine mother. And like the microcosm of your father and your mother, the same thing is true, that the universal mother and the universal father gave birth to your soul into this creation. And that we came into this world to learn certain lessons and to really come into this world for different reasons. So part of the spiritual path is to recognize where our soul came from. It came from the universal mother. Who is that? That is the nature. And hidden within the nature is consciousness. That is the universal father. Because it's that union between the divine mother and the divine father, which is the cosmic, is where we came. This is how our soul was incarnated, because the soul never dies. Once it's time for our body to drop, our soul leaves the body and goes back to the mother and the father. And then eventually the soul comes back from the lessons it learned in this lifetime. And then it comes back into the next lifetime. It's a big subject, huh?
Exactly. It is very big. We need another podcast for that. So,
Yeah.
the next question is, what did you bring from India? And what did you learn there? And actually, I want to ask you two questions here. Do people also need to go to India, or nowadays we have those tools here in the United States?
Okay, so the first part of your question was, what did I receive? So the knowledge and the experiences and the processes and the techniques came from ancient palm leaf manuscripts, which were thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, that were written down by seers and great saints thousands of years ago, so that for future generations, that these tools, these techniques, these mantras, these sacred geometries, these drawings, these processes can be taught to mankind, so that they can learn how to become enlightened. Enlightenment simply is recognizing that the soul never dies and that it was never born. And that when you recognize the soul, then you know who you are. And then you automatically know where you came from. And that experience is very, very, very profound, very blissful, and very amazing, because when you recognize your own soul, you recognize that the same soul that is in me is in everybody. We just have different personalities. We have different lessons. We have different cultures. We have different life experiences that we came to experience in this lifetime. So those are the tools and the techniques that I teach people. Not everybody's going to want to learn mantras. Not everybody wants to go to India. It's whether or not they have that inclination, that tendency. I can say that the mantras, which is sacred sounds that are put together, that were cognized by these great saints, are designed specifically to change your internal resonance and to change your internal vibrational frequency, so that if you want to access, for example, if you want to access an angel, right? And we talk about angels all the time. But literally, there are tools or there are mantras that you can repeat, which will vibrationally call upon an angel and bring an angel to you to communicate with. Similarly, there are different mantras for different purposes. If you want to connect to a divine soul, like let's say Jesus Christ, there are mantras that are designed specifically to resonate. It's like the tuning fork. If you have two tuning forks and you have a stronger one, that when you hit it, it automatically vibrates the other one. Mantras are the same way. It's like a pin code to a vibrational frequency that you want to access. So let's say I wanted to access Jesus Christ. He has a vibrational frequency, and there's mantras which are affiliated with his consciousness. So, as an example, this is one of the techniques that I learned in India when I studied and I really dove into the mystical aspect of spirituality through India. And I met many, many saints in India, and it's unbelievable, the consciousness and the state of awareness that they live in. It's just amazing. Supernatural is what I would say. Let's put it that way. So these tools that I brought back, my master trained me. Sri Kalshwar trained me. He said to me early on, he says, you will create a very powerful center in Los Angeles. And many, many, many people will come, learn these techniques, receive healing, receive vibrations for healing. And it's the techniques that were brought by these divine beings, from thousands of years ago. To answer your second question, do you need to go to India? Short answer is no, you don't need to go to India. Not everybody has that desire to go to India. However, I do take groups of people to India for like 3 weeks, and it's like an immersion. It's like a shortcut to the whole spiritual process because we go to sacred power spots, temples, sites, which it's like the supercharger of spirituality. It dramatically. Everyone who's gone on these trips have been completely transformed in a short period of time, and we're trying to arrange the first power journey back to India in July. We're hopefully get maybe 7 or 9 people to come with us to India to really kind of dive in. So the reason why we take people to India because the vibrations in the United States is not like the vibrations in India. In India, they live, breathe, and every corner is a temple. So the vibrations and the energy and the power within India, which is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, that they practice spirituality and mantras and practices, it happens powerfully and quickly during this 3 week journey. So it's up to you. And you can go to my website and you can send me an email. You can even schedule a 1 hour and a half consultation where we talk about it, we discuss it. It's a very powerful experience. Let's put it that way. You will not be the same, guaranteed.
So another topic that is very profound and have a big part of our life is the chakras in our body. Please let us know a little about it. What are the chakras and how many are there in our body and what are the purpose of them and the functions of them?
And how many hours do we have to talk about this?
I know, I know, you can talk about it
Okay. Uh,
days.
I'll talk about two chakras, which are really important. Um,
Yeah. And at first, please define these chakras. What is this? Why we need to know chakras?
well, because they're energy centers within the body. They say that the body is a temple of the God, which is your soul inside. And it's the chakras which are the energy centers, that go from the top of the head to the bottom of your spine, and they're like energy spots in your system. Each one has its own power, and each one has its own quality. And I'll talk about the importance of two chakras. One is the heart chakra, because the heart chakra is one of the most important chakras. Jesus practiced this chakra extensively because it is where the power of love emanates most readily. It's where the soul resides, and it is the hub. It is the connecting point between your higher states of consciousness and your lower states of energy. And it's in the heart chakra that you experience divine miracles. You experience your connection to God very powerfully. And that's why one of the things that Sri Kalshwar emphasized often was to heal the heart. In the West, heartbreak is one of the most difficult things to heal in human beings because you know we want happiness and we think that happiness in relationships are the way to get to happiness. And unfortunately, it leads to a lot of heartbreak and disappointment. And a lot of times it's very difficult to heal that and not let it go to go to your next relationship. So a lot of my clients that I work with healing the heart because if you don't heal the heart, how can you experience love? You know, and that's really important. The second chakra, which is also a very important chakra because it's called the womb chakra point, which is above your kama chakra, which is which is how we create and manifest our will and intention in the creation. So if it's not strong, if it's not purified, what we do is we manifest our desires, our passions, our lower based desires into the world. I mean, that's basically normal human existence. I want this car. I want this relationship. I want this status. I have to have it. I won't be happy until I get that car or that status or that person or that symbol of happiness. It's that rush of ecstasy that comes in the short term when you get those objects. So that's the short-sightedness aspect of that chakra to be able to manifest in creation. But when you are develop discrimination, discernment, a higher consciousness about what you want and what you need or what you desire, you want to know the divine. It's a higher desire. You want to find a soulmate that complements your soul, that that isn't destructive to your relationship, a disturbance. The worst hell you could be in is be in a relationship with somebody that isn't healthy for you. So when you transition your awareness to a higher consciousness, where you recognize, well, I don't seem to be finding the resonant soul that heals me, that complements me. Then your desire becomes a higher desire, and then you begin to think on a different level of experience. And a lot of times, we're here to learn lessons. And if we learn the lessons of what's the correct desires, or the higher desires, or the healthy desires, or the healthy relationships, then we get closer to God's resonance. We get closer to the healing power of God. And it's not so much about the physical satisfaction, but it's the soul experience of love and bliss, which is immortal, really. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. And to just confirm, these chakras has physical forms. Maybe the name is glands in the body, or no?
No,
Because
there are subtle points within your subtle body. You've got the gross body, which is your physical body. Then you've got the subtle body, and then you have the supracausal body, which is the deeper aspects of the soul, which is where your consciousness really is a much more refined, delicate, intuitive aspect of your soul. You know, and it's a big topic, for sure, because we haven't even talked about consciousness, awareness. How does the soul access the higher levels of cosmic energy that it goes into a deep theta state that we call the trance state, that allows you to access infinite knowledge.
yeah,
It's kind of like the way Tesla used to talk about, in the ether, everything is contained in there. Einstein, he was able to get E equals mc squared because he went into a deep trance state and was able to cognize or to witness or to receive that knowledge and information. And that happens through deep states of meditation. That's why I advise people meditate. Everything you are looking for can be accessed through the deeper states of meditation.
Mm, exactly. Yeah. Even it is written in the book, Think and Grow Rich, the infinite intelligence you can access, which is very materialistic, I can say, book, but still it is very deep. That is totally connected to spirituality, a self-development book. And uh, another question is in the process of manifesting negativity in the life, according to spirituality, what is this? Sometime in life, human being manifest a series of negativity. They receive an accident, an illness, a family uh, dies or something, each after another. So is this something related to his or her thinking pattern, or sometimes this is not a coincidence? We have to just let go and accept. What do you think about this?
It's a very deep question. And
Yeah.
part of it is karmas, you know. There are no accidents in the world. If I hurt somebody else, I have to somehow, either in this lifetime or next lifetime, pay that bill or to experience that karma back. Um, it's a combination of your karmas, your actions, either past life, this life, that you have to experience, that you can mitigate, and you can purge them out, and you can release them back, and Jesus talked about one of the greatest powers is forgiveness. And let's say one of your karmas comes back, somebody really says some negative things to you or whatever have you. It's easier to forgive that person than it is to take revenge.
Mm.
Because when you take revenge, what you're doing is you're completing that karmic circle again to come back to you,
Mm.
right?
Right.
And it could be a test, it could be a lesson, it could be something that you needed to experience in this lifetime. It could be some divine purpose. You don't really know, but it's not like you should lie down and just take it. You've got to figure out in every situation what's the right course of action. And there is no answer that is a textbook answer. You have to take a look at various different components. Just because someone's negative towards you doesn't mean that you can't reflect back to them and say, excuse me, did I do anything that caused that anger to be spewed on me? And really have a dialogue and a conversation that raises the vibrations so that he can be released from, maybe the reason why it happened is so that you can help uplift another human being, to have them become more conscious about their behaviors, that they can for the first time have someone, instead of reacting with anger, to say, that was not very nice, that was very painful what you said, your words carry power, I really don't appreciate that. If you could not behave like that, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you can't control yourself, I am not the person to throw your negativity on. It's not like, spirituality is not just about, you just sit down and take it, and like everything is like, rainbows and candy cane clouds and unicorns.
Mm.
Spirituality is also about knowing what the right reaction is, to know what the right response is, to know that, sometimes it's just negativity. Sometimes you may be experiencing a lot of positive vibrations in your life. Guess what? Whenever you increase the positive, what's going to happen? The negative it's a balance. You have to understand how to manage it. Just because something negative comes doesn't mean it's a bad thing or it's a reflection of that you are a bad person. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm.
You understand that it's God's design. Nothing is imperfect. That you're simply an instrument of the divine for a purpose in that circumstance. Maybe that person needs to experience healing energy, and indirectly their soul is coming to you because it's drawn to you because there's so much love in your heart, right? That's why people seek you out, Navi, because you have such wisdom, because they want to talk things through with you, because you have such a brilliant mind that maybe you can help them. Maybe they want to sort something out with you. Your friend, he went to the hospital, something happened to him. It's not that something bad happened to him. He's just experiencing his life. And your purpose in being there is to help him move through that experience and to come out the other end. So every circumstance and every situation has its silver lining, has its divinity. We can't just stop and think that, oh, poor me, it must be that, it's my bad karma.
Mm.
The first step is to not recreate the same bad karma.
Mm.
You take lemons. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's an age-old spiritual trick. And I've had many circumstances where it's kind of like, financial, emotional, people are just, constantly bombarding me, whatever have you. Every, every situation has a message to it. And if you listen, if you open yourself up for a minute in your meditations and ask the question, why is this happening to me? Have you ever thought of doing that? To ask the divine for answers is part of the process of connecting to the divine. You can have a relationship with the divine energies and the higher intelligence if we simply open ourselves up to it. That's what meditation allows you to do.
Amazing. That was amazingly explained, very beautifully. And please shortly tell us about the karma. Most of the people want to know because different explanation are there about the karma and different aspects of it.
Every action has its equal and opposing reaction.
Mm.
If you put anger in the universe is just going to come back and bring it to you.
Mm.
That's part of the duality. That's part of the illusion. But if you put love in the universe, then love has to come back. If you change your mindset of lack to that of abundance, the universe will respond back. You have to start changing the cycle. You have to start changing the mindset. You have to start changing the thoughts. You have to stop changing the emotions. You have to start to change your perspective. You have to start changing the way that you interact with the universe, with the nature, to change yourself. Then you start seeing that the world will start changing around you. That is the law. That's the law of action to reaction. So if you want more love in your life, you have to figure out how to remove the pain so that you have more love in your heart. when you have more love in your heart, then the people around you will feel that love. Then you'll change the forest one tree at a time. That's what Jesus talked about.
Mm.
I mean, his approach was change yourself. His role was to take on the karmas of large groups of people. Karmas meaning the poison, you know, and it manifested in a particular way as what we call the crucifixion. But the crucifixion happened because that karma had to be manifest in the creation. But then again, with every death came a rebirth. So he came back, he healed himself, and he had great beings around him that helped him in that healing process. You know, the whole conversation about Jesus as a saint is a big, huge project. In fact, my teacher wrote a whole book about Jesus and the miracles and the process that he had to go through in order to get to the point where he was able to manifest the miracles. And the biggest miracle is the human potential, the human capacity to love. That's the greatest miracle. That's really, I mean, everything else pales in comparison to that. And I was blessed to be able to experience that while in India. Believe it or not, I connected to that energy and it blew me away. It changed the whole way I approached life, people, circumstances, situations. And I knew that if I hold on to the divine energy will protect me. And that was something profound in my shift in consciousness.
Just a few seconds ago, I wanted to ask you this question that you answered, that what was some of the experiences or the miracles that you have experienced in India? So you already told me it was love that you experienced.
I
And
mean,
I think maybe you have experienced other things as well, but love for me is everything. Yeah.
that's
Uh,
that's the biggest miracle behind everything, because that's what transforms. That's what takes the poison and makes nectar. That's when you're one with God,
mm,
because then that energy is vibrating in you and around you. And that's really the process of spirituality. That's the process of meditation. That's the process of healing, is to get back to that source and have it live within you at every moment. Of course, we'll have lapses in judgment. Of course, we'll make mistakes. That's the human condition. But to the degree that we can go back and say, wait, that's not right. Let me rethink that. Let me go back to a different way to do it. You know, let me go back to the source. Let me go back to changing my reaction. I choose love rather than anger. I choose peace rather than fear. You know, we have choices, but we have to connect ourselves through meditation and accessing that supernatural. And it's more and more difficult these days because we're competing in a world that wants our attention. Our iPhones, our iPads, our Zoom calls, our laptops, social media, it all wants to have us focus on that rather than focusing, closing the eyes, opening up your third eye, and accessing the supernatural, cosmic, natural intelligence, not the artificial intelligence, the natural cosmic intelligence. That is where that is where the reality lies, not in all this software, supernatural computer type of reality. We use it because we have to operate in the world, but let's not forget our own energy and our own battery source.
yeah. Another question, because today I think it is needed that people need to know about this energy consuming. People just consumed with social media, and I saw my friends, uh, they even cannot, is this a fear or what? They just keep looking at social media whenever they have a second, and they don't have any manage. Is this a fear that they cannot just get inside with themselves, and when they are alone, they cannot be for 1 minute sitting alone, and they just come out and go out and do something. Is this stress? Is this fear? Is this ego? What is this?
Well, it's also the electrical vibrations of the instruments, the phones, the 5G, the light that's being emitted through the computer. It's the vibrations of the phones. It's the beeping. It's the buzzing. It's the tweets. It's the we're identifying with the social construct, and it's one part. It's an addiction.
Mm,
It's an addiction because they're very smart with all these apps because it's training our brains through the chemical emissions in the brain an addiction.
mm,
And just think about it, Navi. It's really when you're looking at these screens, all your energy through your eyes is going into this screen. And who knows where your energy is going or how it's being affected. Because as the energy is going out, you're also absorbing the vibrations into your being through your eyes. The eyes are really critical to understanding vibrations. That's why looking into a fire candle or a fire pit, you're releasing through the eyes. Similarly, when you're looking at all these applications, you're absorbing all the vibrations. The words and the images are vibrations as well.
mm,
And those vibrations you're absorbing into your consciousness. Just think
mm,
about that for a minute. Just think about the news. You're absorbing all that, it's all negative news. It's not positive. So where's all that negativity going? It's going into our system. I only work on the computer when I absolutely have to do it. I only use the phone to the degree I need to communicate, speak to people. So everything comes back down to, well, how are those vibrations affecting you?
mm,
Those are the things that you have to learn in meditation. Those are the things that when I work with clients, I have the dialogue and the discussion. I one of the fundamental questions I ask people, I said, how much time are you spending in nature?
mm,
The vibrations in nature is where the angels are located. It's in the nature that we are naturally decharging when we go to the beach, when we go to a forest, when we go on a hike, when we go to a waterfall. We're absorbing nature's vibrations, which is the divine vibrations. And that's how we decharge. That's how we release. That's how we let go of stress and all the negativity that we've absorbed throughout the day. That's how we go back to balance.
mm. When you said about the nature, I saw an old TV show that a person said, I think it is 1970, that a person asks, a TV host asks a person how much time you spend in the nature. He says, I don't like nature all over me, which is a which is a belief. Maybe today people carry this belief. So they believe like nature is a burden.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and it was very funny. One last question. What do you think about the life purpose? What is there life purpose for every individual of us?
That's That's a good question because that's answering people's reason for waking up in the world, waking up in the morning and facing the world. When you have purpose, then you have a reason for living. Each person has a different, they call it dharma or different purpose. And when I talk to clients and I talk to people, that's one of the things that we talk about. That's one of the things that resonates with people. And that's part of the discussion. One on one is the best way to engage with people, to really teach them and show them different ways to manage their lives in a powerful way, in a healthy way, in a happy way. Being happy is important because when you're out of balance, you're not happy. When
Hmm.
when each of the elements, when they're balanced, then you're at peace. Then you have the mind calming down. But it's when it's out of balance is when there's issues and problems and disease. So I recommend, if people want to find out more or if they want to connect to me, if they want to ask me questions, just go to my website. It's just my first and last name, Paul Aryeh, ARYEH.com. And it's very simple. It's about connecting to people, either in person or via Zoom. I mean, that's today's technology. It's the way that I'm able to connect to your audience and to clients as well as through Zoom or FaceTime.
Uh, mm, a lot of my friend experience, as you said, imbalance or getting out of balance, especially with their heartbreak. A lot of experience I have, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are experiencing. And before you explain the heartbreak, if a person is broken, then they cannot experience love. Yeah. So how will you help them? So it's very important for most of us, and maybe a lot of clients will contact you on this topic because
Right.
I'm talking with people and they're having this issue.
I think in person is always good. You know, uh, like I said, Navi, get 5 people in San Francisco Bay Area, find a fire pit or a fireplace where we can put some wood there, and we'll do a special ceremony to allow people to begin to heal heartbreak. Heartbreak's a very intricate, very deep subject, and I do a weekend course based on healing heartbreak. I do retreats. Uh, I just finished one in Mount Shasta where we really immersed ourselves in the elements and we addressed those issues. So I would say first is one on one, and then maybe in groups. Navi, I'm always welcome to go up to San Francisco, and we can arrange something there. We're a group of people. We can all gather around, and we'll make our own little webinar, seminar right there. So I think the first step is to just connect with me and I can give certain tools to get on that road. Healing heartbreak is a big topic, and it really requires its own conversation. But it's possible. It's
Mm.
absolutely. If it wasn't possible, I wouldn't be on this path. So I would say it's absolutely possible, but it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes patience, and it takes faith to be able to release, let go, and to heal that. And that's just part of the process of working with me. And I invite people to reach out.
Thank you so much, Paul, for answering a lot of questions today. Also, you said about your website. Can you tell us uh, if there is any other way to access your work or only through website?
Uh, I think that's the first step. And then if people want to work with me, we'll take it in steps. I'm open to having people visit here in Los Angeles. or if they want to sponsor me, if they want to have me come to their city and they have a group of people that they want me to meet, I'm happy to do that as well. All this can be worked out. And it's these days it's certain things you can do over the internet and on Zoom. Certain things you have to do in person. There's just no two ways about it. You know, I know it's a digital world. That's why I do retreats. That's why I do seminars. That's why I spend time with people because that's what really works.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today on GNR podcast. It was really illuminating to have Paul share their expertise and insight with us. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments below. Stay tuned for more engaging conversation. Until next time, take care.